Okay. When we consider sexual reproduction in flowering plants, the major important part of this flowering plant is flowers first. All right. What is sexual reproduction? The syllabus we have as flower structure, then development of male and female gametes, pollination types, agencies and example, outbreeding devices, pollen pistil interactions, double fertilization, post-fertilization events, development of endosperm and embryo, development of seeds, formation of fruits, special modes of apomixis, parthenocopy, polyembryony, significance of seed dispersal and fruit formation. This is the full important concept. This can be divided into different sections. Right? When we see this pre-fertilization structures and event, development of pollen could be having 1 3-mark or a 5-mark question. A Microsporangium, that is ovary, then pollination and its different types, outbreeding devices and pollen crystal interaction. Then in double fertilization, we have got 1 mark, or 1 question in 5 marks, or either or question. Then there is a 2-mark question which we received one time, then another 2 questions of 5 marks, and 1 question of 3 marks. These are things which we have to go. Then what are the post-fertilization structures? 2 marks and 1 mark. Right? Apomixis and polyembryony. What is polyembryony? Parthenocoptic fruits and apomictic seed. What are apomictics? This lesson is divided into 3 parts. Topic 1, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Then topic 2, regarding pollination and fertilization. And topic 3, post-fertilization changes and special modes of reproduction. So first we have to go through the topic 1, right? What we have in topic 1 is regarding flower. What is a flower? A flower are the site of sexual reproduction. Site of sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Parts of typical angiospermic flowers are sepals, petals, stamens, and pistil. The 4 whorls of the flower are attached on the central axis called thalamus. Central axis thalamus. A flower can be bisexual, contain both male and female, or unisexual, only one reproductive part is present. What about the male reproductive structure? See here, when we go through this, floral diagram, we have a thalamus, and around thalamus, there will be a sepal, then petals, then anthers, then gynoecium. That is stigma, gynoecium would be there, right? The structure of male reproductive structure. The male reproductive structure, androecium, all of stamens. Androecium consists of all of stamens. That is, it may be a minimum of 5 or multiples of 5, and in some cases, there's distribution of large number of stamens too. The number and length of stamens are variable in flowers of different species. A stamen has 3 parts, mainly anther, filament, and connective. What is an anther? It is the terminal and bilobed part of the stamens attached with the filament. A bilobed anther is called diathecous. Each lobe has 2 pollen sacs or microsporangia. There are anthers in tetrasporangiae. A longitudinal groove runs lengthwise, separating the theca. Filament. It is a long and slender stalk part of the stamen. Its proximal end is attached to thalamus or petals of the flower. Connective. The structure which connects the anther-lobes is known as connective. Okay. See here, 2 lobes. dithecus, two lobes. In each lobe, we'll be having two pollen sacs, all right, two pollen sacs. And what is the transverse section of anther would be? The anther is tetragonal in structure, four in structure, consisting of 4 microsporangia, 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, 1, 2, 3, and 4. A pollen sac located at the corner of each lobe. The microsporangia develop into pollen sacs. They extend longitudinally throughout a length of anther. They are packed with pollen grain. Pollen grains would be here, right? So when we enlarge this is how it looks. Epidermis, next one will be endothecium, then middle layers, then microspore mother cell, MMC. Then this one is tapetum. After that, microspore mother cell, which produces the pollen grains. Okay, what's the structure of microsporangium? As we saw now, it has an epidermis, endothecium, 2 or 3 middle layers, then tapetum. The first 2 layers perform the function of production. First 2 layers, that is epidermis and endothecium, perform protection and help in dehiscence. What is dehiscence? Breaking of anthers to provide pollen grains, releasing of pollen grains of anther. Sorry, the middle layer and the innermost layer, tapetum, nourishes. What's the role of tapetum? Tapetum nourishes the developing pollen grains. The cells of tapetum possess dense cytoplasm and more than one nucleus. When the anther is young, a group of compactly arranged homogeneous cells called sporangious tissue occupies the center of each sporangium. Microsporogenesis. When the anthers develop, each cell of sporangious tissue undergo meiotic division to form microspore tetrad. Each cell of sporangious tissue is a microspore mother cell, MMC, or pollen mother cell, PMC. The process of formation of microspore from pollen mother cell through meiosis is called microsporogenesis, dehiscence of anthers. The microspores get arranged in a group of 4 cells, and each group is called microspore tetrad. As the anther mature and dehydrate, the microspore dissociate from each other and develop into pollen anthers. What is a pollen grain? Pollen grain germinates and give rise to male gametes. Pollen grain germinates and give rise to male gametes. Germinates and give rise to male gametes. These are spherical, measuring 25 to 50 micrometers. 25 to 50 micrometers. That is, what is micrometer? 25 to 50 micrometer. This is 10 to the power minus 6 meter. All right, 10 to the power minus 6 meter in diameter. Pollen grains are well preserved as fossils due to the presence of sporopollen, a tough, resistant, and stable material. A pollen grain has 2-layered wall, namely exine and intine. What is an exine? Exine is a hard outer layer which is made up of sporopollen. The sporopollen is one of the most resistant organic material. It never disintegrates. It is one of the toughest resistant organic material. It can withstand high temperature and strong acid and alkali. It cannot be degraded by enzymes. The exine has aperture called germ spores, where sporopollen is absent. That germ spore will help in formation of, from that germ spore only, pollen tube arises. Right? So this is what happens inside the pollen. This is what happens. It undergoes this structure of two-cell male gamete. One is generative cell, which has a nucleus, and this one is vegetative cell, which helps in nourishing this generative cell. Okay, microspore mother cell undergo meiosis and forms two, and then it forms tetrad, right? Tetrad. So this is how the pollen grain matures, right? So this vegetative part will help in nourishment of this also. Intine. What is the role of this intine? What is the role of this intine, inner material, inner lining? It is the inner thin and continuous layer that is made up of cellulose and pectine. Cellulose and pectine. A mature pollen grain contains two cells, namely vegetative cell and generative cell. What is a vegetative cell? It is a bigger cell having abundant food resources, a large, irregularly shaped nucleus. What is a generative cell? It is a smaller cell that floats in the cytoplasm of the vegetative cell. It is spindle-shaped with dense cytoplasm and a nucleus. The pollen grains are generally shed at the two-cell stage in flowering plants. In other plants, the generative cell divides mitotically to give rise to two male gametes before pollen grains are shed in the three-cell stage. Once they are shed, pollen grains have to land on the stigma before they lose viability. That is, after the pollen grain is dispersed from the anthers, it should reach the stigma soon. If it's not reaching the stigma, automatically it will lose its viability. It will not be having the same strength, right? The period of pollen grain remaining viable varies and depends on the prevailing temperature and humidity. The viability of pollen grains of cereals such as rice is 30 minutes, while some members of Leguminaceae, Rosaceae, and Solanaceae have liability of 4 months. That is Rosaceae, rose, then hibiscus, Rosa sinensis, legumes like peas, pods, all these have viability for months. Pollen grains of some plants like Parthenium are allergic for some people, leading to chronic respiratory disorder such as asthma, bronchitis, etc. Pollen grains are rich in nutrients. Pollen tablets are used as food supplement in developed nations. Pollen consumption in the form of tablets and syrups increase the performance of athletes and racehorses. It is possible to store pollen grains for years in liquid nitrogen, that is minus 196 degrees Celsius. The pollen stored in pollen banks for crop breeding program. The pollen is stored in pollen banks for crop breeding program. See how much things are happening. This is all about the pollen, that is male gamete, Microsporangium. Okay? Microsporangium. Now, I want you to go through this data slow and steadily. You're just going to revise this data, all right? Revise it. You're just going to revise and go through the data. Slowly, I will give the extra data. If you went through data, you can tell it. I will move to the next page. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Can I move to the next one, Da? Can I move to the next, Da?
Sir?
Have you completed, Ma?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, very good. So now you have idea what everything is about. Now you have an idea what everything is about. Okay. Structure of Microsporangium or pollen sac. All right. We'll just revise these. We'll just revise this and move on to the next one. Okay. Structure of Microsporangium or pollen sac. See, we went through that it has epidermis, endothelium second layer, then 2 or 3 middle layers, then tapetum. First two generally gives protection and tapetum nourishes the microsporangium. Tapetum nourishes the microsporangium. Then what is microsporangiogenesis? Sporangious tissue undergo mitotic division, right? Mitotic division. Mitotic division forming microspore tetrads. Then each microsporangial tissue is a MMC or pollen mother cell. We used to say the process of formation of microspore pollen mother cell is known as microsporogenesis. Then dehiscence of anthers. This dehiscence of anther, due to this dehiscence only, the pollen grains are shed out. All right, pollen grains are shed out. Next, pollen grain, we went through this pollen grain. Germinate and give rise to male gametes. Pollen grains germinate and give rise to male gametes, 25 to 50 micrometers. Then it is well preserved as a fossil fuel fossil due to the presence of sporopollen, a tough, resistant, and stable material. It has two layers, exine and intine, then exine. Outer layer is made up of sporopollen, most resistive organic material. Then it can withstand high temperature, strong acids and alkali too. It cannot be degraded by enzymes also. And it has a small aperture known as germ spore. From this only, pollen tube arises after reaching the stigma. It has two parts, one vegetative and one generative parts. From microspore mother cell, microspore dyad is formed, then tetrad is formed, thus resulting in the pollen grains, right? Pollen grains. Then in time, it is a very thin layer made up of cells, continuous layer. It doesn't have any apertures. Mature pollen grain have vegetative cell and generative cell. Vegetative cells bigger and abundant food reserve, irregular nucleus, irregular shaped nucleus is there. Then generative, it is smaller cell that floats in cytoplasm of vegetative cell. Dense cytoplasm generally shed two-cell stage for flowering. Then it divides mitotically, give rise to two male gametes before pollen grains are shed in stage 3. Then we saw the shed pollen grain has to land in stigma before losing viability. For grains like wheat, rice, it is 30 minutes we saw. And for legumens like peas, rosaceae and solanaceae, the viability is for months. Then some pollen grains are really allergic. Example, Parthenium. We went through that. I showed you the picture of Parthenium, how it would be looking, right? Parthenium. And allergic for some people. Actually, Parthenium was not there in existence in India, but as a breed came to India. Now it is pan-India. It is all around India, which is not only causing this allergies, it also sucks the fertility of the soil. Then pollen grains, we know it is rich in nutrients, hence it is also used as pollen tablets, as food supplements, right? To increase the performance of athletes and racehorses, this pollen consumption is also, tablets and syrups are also used. It is possible to store the pollen grains in liquid nitrogen, -196 degrees Celsius. The pollen stored in the pollen banks for crop breeding programs, it has been stored there. Okay. Sister, until this, we will complete the first session now. Until this, we will complete the first session. All right. Until this time, we will complete the first session. And after it starts, the recording got stored, we will start the next session in another 5 to 10 minutes. That is regarding, is the screen moving for you, Doc?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. I will complete the session now, and I will send a new link for the next session of 40 minutes, where we will go through this female reproductive structure. Sorry?
That will also be 40 minutes, sir.
Yeah. This one which I'm using, that ID is being used for another program which is happening now simultaneously. So
Oh,
this is without that, without any license. So it will be a 40 minutes session only. I'll complete the session now. I'll complete the session now. And after this, we can easily proceed to the next one.
okay, sir.
Okay. We can easily proceed to the next one. All right. See you in 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.